Hi and welcome to my channel. My name's Jo and this is Joey Sewy. It's my sewing channel where I talk about sewing, knitting, creativity and life. Today I'm going to talk about fabric, and I have a fabric haul that has more than 30 fabrics in it, but I didn't buy any of them. Magic. I haven't been on a massive thieving spree and I haven't found some magic way to get lots of people to give me fabric for free. What I want to talk about in this video is fabric sampling services. So recently, start at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year I looked at my fabric stash with horror. I've done a few videos about them, I'll link them down below and at the end of this video, but basically there was way too much fabric in there. A lot of it I'd been given, the majority of it I'd been given, which is lucky, but a lot of it I'd bought a long time ago and it had just built up and built up and built up. I'm sure some of you really can relate, and I needed to do something about it. So at the beginning of the year I destashed, and that's what I did some videos about. Since then I have been trying to be much more mindful about what I buy, if I buy anything. Now you know I've bought things if you've been watching my videos, because I've been doing fabric hauls, and who could not buy something from Liberty? I plead special dispensation for buying fabric at Liberty. But I have bought a couple of things, but they have been a lot more expensive than I would normally buy, but there has been a much more limited quantity than I would normally buy. So you can see that I've been trying to be more deliberate in my choices. So one of the things I've been trying to do to be deliberate in my choices is to take advantage of sampling services. Getting to real life fabric shops is not easy for me because of where I live and because of life, and because it's dangerous when I get there. So sampling services and kind of really getting my head around what's the best way to use them, and good stores that do good sampling services was something that I wanted to prioritise. So this video is about fabric sampling services. I've 6 different suppliers that I have got samples from. I have no idea which order to do them in, so I'm just going to dive straight in and we'll have a look. Number 1, the way I've chosen these has been fairly random. It's often been late night browsing, and that's how I've decided. Number 1 is a UK based supply. These are all UK based, called Croft Mill. Okay, so there are 5 samples there, and these are from Croft Mill. So this is how they arrive. I can't show you the whole thing because it's got my address and telephone number on it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have to pull them off. Okay, so they arrived stapled to a piece of paper, and it's basically your invoice. So it's nothing fancier than that from Croft Mill. In terms of the fabric, what did it cost? So most sampling services these days are not free, and to be honest I totally respect that. You know, there is a cost to sending fabric out, not just the fact that you're sending fabric out, but postage costs are not tiny. So I think sampling services need to be an important part of any fabric business, but I don't think it's fair to expect them to be free, especially not from smaller suppliers, because it's not a free cost to the business and you could really get into hundreds of pounds worth of cost. So that's my opinion. This is a jersey, and I think this one is called As Day Follows Night. Some of these may or may not still be available, but I will of course link them down below. So that's the sort of size of sample that I got from Croft Mill. I thought that was quite nice. I haven't gone ahead with an order from there. This is a cotton drill, so I was looking for trouser fabric. I did quite like that, but again it's a really tiny little scrap. And then again some chino fabric, some white stretch twill, and some chino non-stretch. So when you're looking for stretch, and one of the things that set me off on this quest was looking for trouser fabric, and I really found it difficult to trust any of the descriptions to be definitely what I wanted them to be. So I didn't know how much percentage stretch there was. I didn't know how thick it was going to be. You know, I'm not planning to make any white trousers, but if it's a light colour or if you're making a tight fitting garment, you need to know that that fabric is not going to be tissue thin and make you look awful when you make your garment out of it. So those are the samples I got from Croft Mill. I'd say they're kind of middling. The cost was pretty good because the cost was £2 for 5 samples, so I think that's reasonable. I think that reflects actual cost price and doesn't seem to add any premium onto the purchaser. But the size of the samples were pretty teeny, just about enough to judge. Next up we have Fabrics Galore. Now I believe Fabrics Galore are a bricks and mortar store as well, but they have a pretty good website there. I was looking at this point, I was looking at Liberty Fabrics. It was before I went to Liberty. And so their sample service is £3 for 3 samples, which I thought, okay, the Liberty fabrics are quite expensive. So first thing is they come stapled onto a little tag, which I think is quite a nice touch. It's a reasonably nice way. But then I thought £3, and this is the size of the samples that you get. I just thought they were really tiny. They do say, to be fair, they do say that their samples are about 10 centimetres by 5 centimetres, and that's probably what you've got here. So I don't have the names of these, I'm sorry, but these were all off the Fabric Galore website. The cost price of these, if you were going to buy them, is about £23 a metre. And be careful on that site because they price them by half the metre, so you can buy half a metre. But it means, like, initially you look at the price and you think, oh, Liberty fabric and it's £11 a metre, want some of that, and then you realise it's not. It's £11 something per half metre. I really liked that one. Really liked that pattern. And if I hadn't gone to Liberty, I think I was going to go ahead with the purchase of this. And then the last one was that one. Okay. So I felt a little bit disappointed in the size of the samples. I don't think they're quite enough to really judge the drape of the fabric. And given that I was paying £3 for that, the postage was probably about 80p. I wasn't sure that was a great value. I would like a sample size, maybe double that, to feel a little bit like it was more generous. But the fabrics from Fabrics Galore, they're lovely, they're really nice. A couple of specialist suppliers next. So this one is Beckford Silk. Now I got these samples last year when I was making an outfit for a wedding, and I was toying with the idea of using silk because it was a wedding and it was something special. So I went ahead with these. Now these samples, Beckford Silk is a specialist silk supplier in the UK, and they print their own fabric, they dye their own fabric, they have pretty much any colour of the rainbow in plain silk. Silk satin and silk crepe de chine, I think. And they also have patterns. At the time I was looking for patterns, so this is what I got. These are all silk crepe de chine. What I liked about these is you get a little sticker on them. So for some of those ones down there, so for example for Fabrics Galore, if I want to remember what on earth I ordered, I would have to go back to the website or go back to my electronic order. Possibly the information is on there, but it's not on the letter that they sent me. The fabrics are not named, and the fabrics are not named on here. So if you got, say you were trying to compare 3 different white fabrics, you wouldn't necessarily know which was which if they're not labelled. So they fell down on that as well. Whereas Beckford Silk, you get a really detailed thing. So fabric, silk crepe de chine, medium, design, midnight flower, colour, blues, because this one comes in various colourways. Sorry about the frog in my throat. The ultimate width of the fabric, which in this case is 114 centimetres, and then their website. So you cannot get confused about what kind of fabric it is. And as you can see, the size of the samples is very generous. That's like an almost A5 paper. So there's that one. There's this, which is called Daisy Glow in Chili Reds, which is really nice. This one, which is called Mac Roses. All of these designs, because they print them themselves, they can get them back in stock. So if you like any of these are definitely still available. This one is called Ivy Leaves and is in a burnt orange colourway. And this one is called Painted Blossom Large and in a smoky greys colourway. So they're all silk crepe de chine, as I said. I wasn't quite sure what silk crepe de chine felt like when I ordered them, and ultimately I didn't go ahead with the order because none of these fit my vision, and also the silk crepe de chine for what I wanted to make, which was a jumpsuit, it felt a little bit transparent. Even these dark colours, when you get light, I don't know if I can show you, but believe me, with light shining onto you in a garment, you would be able to see your silhouette, and that wasn't what I wanted around my bottom area at the time. So how much did that cost? 95 pence per sample, which for an A5 piece of silk, which to be honest I could maybe use in some kind of other craft given that it's such a beautiful fabric, I thought that was really good value. As I've said before, I don't expect them to send them for free. £1 each for an A5 piece of silk feels pretty reasonable. They are a family-run business based in rural Gloucestershire, from where we design, print, dye and sell an extensive range of silks, velvet and silk mix fabrics. So it's really worth a browse, and they do have a factory shop if you're anywhere near Gloucestershire as well. I'm sure that would be definitely worth a visit. Another silk supplier, John Lewis. Okay, so in England, John Lewis, huge department store. I'm a big John Lewis fan, I love it. And I ordered sand washed silk. Okay, so John Lewis send out their fabric samples for free. They are a huge company relative to all these other businesses, to be fair, but yeah, they send their samples out for free, and that's the sort of size. This is exactly the same sort of size as Beckford Silk. They do put a sticker on the back, so it's sand washed silk, it's in grey. The width of the fabric in this case is 110 centimetres, and it's 100% silk composition. They even have their product code on there. I know last time I checked, which was quite recently, they do have this in, so I think this is a fairly standard thing that John Lewis have as a stock item. They had it in a number of colours. It is expensive, it's not cheap. It was about between 23 and 26 pounds a metre from memory, but this is really nice fabric. Oh yes. I'm not going to buy any until I'm ready to make something with it, because there's always the chance I will change my mind, but I would really like to make a blouse out of this sand wash silk. Can you see how I'm stroking it? You can tell I like it from that, can't you? Yeah, this is really nice. And in terms of a sample service, it's free. It's always this sort of size samples, because I've had quite a lot of samples from John Lewis over the years for upholstery and dressmaking fabric. So it's always free, it's always a pretty large sample, and it always comes fast. What else can you say? John Lewis isn't the cheapest supplier, and I don't often find them I'm all that inspired with their dressmaking fabrics, but when I was looking for sand wash silk, they were one of the few suppliers that I could actually find. Okay, second to last. You may know, you may not know, I am a yoga teacher by trade, and so leggings are quite important to me. And when I made my leggings I think it's in my February what did I make video, I'll put a link to it down below and at the end of the video. I think it's in my February. I made some leggings. I made the Avery leggings from Helen's Closet, and I liked them when I'd finished them. I had a few things that I would think a bit harder about how they were constructed next time, but I quite liked them. So it sent me out on a quest to find leggings fabric. Now, the reason why I mention I'm a yoga teacher is because, I've just dropped this, being a yoga teacher teaches you, both from personal experience and from observing people in your class, how important it is to have leggings that are not see-through when they get stretched. Okay, so part of the job of being a yoga teacher, I have to bend over and point at my bum sometimes. It's just how it is to show a pose or whatever. And I don't want any chance when I'm doing that you can see my pants. And to be honest, even if I didn't do that as a job and I was walking along the street, I don't want any chance that someone can see my underwear through my clothes. So with legging fabric, it's really important that it's thick. It's quite easy to find cheap jersey that will stretch. If you're going to layer a tunic over the top, this doesn't matter because no one will ever see your bottom. But if you're not, then this does matter. Rant over. That is why I went to look for specialist legging fabric, and I found one supplier that I felt kind of got what I was looking for, and they're called Funky Fabrics, and they print their own fabric, so they have billions of designs. And it basically, if you know Spoon Flower, the fabric printing company that are, you can get them in the UK now as well as the US, so if you know them, it's like that. So on their website they have zillions of different designs, but what they also have is lots of different base fabrics, and it's all stretch for active wear, so not just leggings, but they also have things like this sample, for example. This one is stretch. On the outside it's like leggings fabric. It's called thermo grey because on the inside it is fleecy, and that would make a brilliant pair of leggings for the winter. I'm really into that. They've all got really high percentage lycra, so that they're going to have amazing recovery. I got samples of some base fabrics, so I got thermo grey. That's about 15 by 15 centimetres, I'd say. I don't know what this one's called, but it's a purple one. It says on it MF5045. Quite a thick lycra. Clearance black cotton elastane. So in their clearance section. I think that's probably the right side. And matte nylon. And what's this one? Merrill colour plum. And then the printed ones, as you can see, I ordered samples and they've printed them onto one piece. So this is called Party Blur Red, Blue Sky, Black and White, and Roses UV. And I really liked all of those. These are the designs, but you can order them on different base fabrics as well. Probably my favourite out of all of them was that one. I love a geometric pattern. Really good. So you bought a sample bundle of 10 for £5 plus postage of £1.50. So it's £6.50 for 10 samples. They also did bigger sample bundles. I think 10 was the minimum. I might be wrong. Of course, there's going to be links down below so you can check out exactly the deal when you're looking. But yeah, £6.50 for 10 samples, but they're printed to order. So maybe on the slightly expensive side, but given that they're bespoke samples, can possibly forgive that. And that I was looking for really specialist stuff. Last bundle, and it's big. Up to now, if you're still with me, well done, this is a long one. Up to now, these have all been independent, standalone websites. This supplier is an eBay supplier. They're called Regency Rags. I think the eBay name is Regency Rags Fabric Store. I will, of course, as I keep saying, have a link down below. And their fabric is very reasonable, but it's also limited stock. So wherever they're getting their fabric from, it's obviously end of line or liquidation stock, or I don't know. But oftentimes, if not all the time, it is a case of when it's gone, it's gone. But because it's cheap, I also felt, I don't know what I'm going to get. But luckily they do a sample service. Now when I bought mine, you paid £5.75 plus £2.50 postage, so that's £8.25. I wrote it down over there. 8 samples, and I actually doubled that, so I paid 2 times £5.75, so £11.50 plus £2.50 postage, and I got 16 samples because their website is huge, and I went a bit mad. £13 or something. However, their samples, when I was buying, and I will confirm this in the comments down below because I've emailed them to check. When I was buying, that cost is then refundable against a future order. Now, none of the others have said that, and I think actually that would be even better, because as a fabric supplier, you want to convert your samples into an order. That's what you really want to do. You're not in the business of sending out little scraps, are you? You're in the business of selling fabric. So I think it would be a really good idea if samples were refundable, or maybe 50% refundable against a future order. And this supplier did do that. So that was partly why I justified going a bit mad getting the samples. I don't know if any of these will still be in stock, but what you're going to see as I hold them up, this is what they called a canary yellow jersey. Wasn't quite the colour I thought it would be from the screen. They are big samples. Okay, so that what they've done, this is a Georgette, they have cut from the whole width of the fabric as far as I can tell. So of everywhere that ironically, of everywhere that I bought fabric from, samples from, this is a knit, but in fabric, a white knit, quite an open knit. I did like that. So ironically, this is the cheapest place of the ultimate cost of the fabrics, and they sent me the largest samples, and they refund the sample cost against future purchases. So this is a red jersey. It's quite a nice colour. Ta-da! This is a white kind of jersey with a pin tuck sewn into it, or it might even be manufactured into it. Yeah, not a huge amount of stretch in that, more like a Ponte jersey, to be honest. I'm going through these fairly quickly because, as I say, I don't know if you'll still be able to get them, and you can, you can go and browse. Silver marl jersey, quite liked this one. Silver feels it's a metallic thread, so there is kind of that slightly rough texture. Although this side, that's the reverse. That doesn't have as much of the metallic, so it would be a bit more comfortable against your skin. So again, huge long piece. In the olden days when I used to keep all fabrics, I think I could probably justify keeping some of these. I'm not sure if I could now. I don't know what I'd do with them. This is a really soft, I think this was called a vintage wool weave, like a grey colour. The sun's going in and out today, so I'm sorry the colour and the light's going to be a bit strange, but this one was ever so soft. Really nice. Which is another kind of viscose Georgette. That would make a lovely blouse. I really liked that one. The sort of prices, so I'm saying these are good value. The sort of prices we are talking about is around £3 a metre for these fabrics. This was, I think they described it as a Bengaline. It's like a trouser weight twill. It's got some stretch in it, and I really liked that dog tooth. It's a mid-grey background and a black dog tooth. It is a scuba with like a what's that? Makes your eyes go funny anyway. Print. A stripy jersey. It's horizontal stripes with a vertical rib. Can you see the rib? Yeah, a lot of stretch. A viscose jersey with a stripe in it, and kind of like the background, which definitely didn't come across on the pictures, but the background is sort of like tie-dye-ish. Ponte, black Ponte jersey with a vertical rib again. That one was quite acrylic-y. It's quite, not sure about that one because it felt quite plasticky in person. And this is exactly why you want to get samples, because you just cannot tell that sort of thing. Regardless of whether it's a cheap or expensive fabric, you cannot tell. You also can't easily tell the transparency of fabric, and you can see from that one, it's quite transparent, isn't it? But it's a nice colour. It's like a slub, called it a slub jersey. Can you see the texture in it? Yeah. So if you were prepared to layer that or use it in a way that the transparency didn't matter, that's pretty good for about £2.50 a metre. A plain blue jersey. And the last one, well done, we are there, is a knit. And this was interesting because they only pictured that side on the website, but actually I quite liked the reverse. And for some reason this one was just a square. I think possibly they didn't have much of this one left. But even that, you know, that's the smallest sample that they sent me, and it's bigger than, way bigger than some of the others. I did actually buy some of the last group of fabrics, but this video has been so long, I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to make a separate video showing you my actual purchases. So I hope you don't mind me splitting it in two, but that's why, because this has been a really long one. Let me know your thoughts about sample services down below, and any good ones that you've used, any websites that you would recommend. What do you think about my idea about samples? It would be great if retailers would refund part of the cost to people who make future purchases, because that makes business sense, doesn't it? Please like, subscribe. Thank you for being there. We're nearly at 1,000 subscribers and there's going to be a giveaway when we get there. So please spread the word and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.